When was your too good to be true moment? When my surgeon saved my disfigured leg and I walked properly for the first time in 18 years. It didn't dawn on me until I started climbing a flight of stairs. I was halfway up when I broke down crying. That is amazing. Glad your leg is working. Having a crap day because I was sick and had to drive myself to the doctor since it's right in the middle of finals. Crashed into a car that was stopped at a red light right in front of me because I was just exhausted and zoning out. When I pulled over, the woman took one look at me and went, "Honey, you look really terrible. Are you okay?" I told her that I was sick and probably shouldn't be driving, and kept apologizing to her. I was looking for my insurance information, but she stopped me and went, "Don't worry about it. My car's old. I don't really care about this dent. You're still young and your insurance will go up a lot if you report this. So just get home safe, get some rest and don't worry about this." I was expecting to be hit by a huge lawsuit anytime since that seemed way too good to be true. But nope. She really was a nice person. Obviously a drug dealer. Didn't want to get caught. As a 20-year-old college student depending on his parents, I made a crappy meme site in like 2 hours just for fun and spent like half an hour each month updating it. Within 4 months it was making $250 a day, which lasted about 3 years. When I was 11 I entered an essay contest about what makes America great. I was a C student and never wrote a dang thing in my life. I came in second place and got a $100 gift certificate to a toy store. We were on welfare so it was a huge deal. I bought one of those talk boys from Home Alone 2 and a stunt kite. That's awesome. SERWRWRWRWR. That's awesome. When I was younger, I forget how old, I was really into Star Wars when episode 1 came out and wanted any Star Wars toy out at the time, but we didn't have much money for stuff like that. One day I came home from school and there was an enormous box sitting in the foyer and my mom was standing there waiting for me to get home. The box had my name on the shipping label so I was hype as crap. I rarely got crap in the mail. I ripped it open and it was every single Star Wars toy from the new movie. My mom and I have no idea to this day who sent it, but holy frick was I grateful. According to my mom, I don't really remember this, a week or two before that box came in the mail my class was accepting donations for a gift for a girl in my grade whose father had just passed away, and I brought in all the money in my piggy bank, which was about 27 bucks. And my teacher told my mom about my generous donation. My mom likes to think that it was my guardian angel looking out for me, but that doesn't seem plausible. Definitely my younger self's too good to be true moment. I think you bought them for yourself. You knew what you wanted and traveled back in time to deliver the gifts. I had just graduated with my Bachelor of Science in Nursing and was working at Walmart, where I'd been employed for 3 years when I got a phone call from the Mayo Clinic offering me my dream job. It had been my first and only interview and I thought it was a long shot. The position was in the specialty I wanted with the population I wanted in the top ranked hospital in the US, and it paid nearly quadruple what I was making at the time. I just remember standing there with the phone to my ear for a moment before squeaking out, "Really, I'd be lying if I said I didn't cry." Have had a bunch, but the most recent one was crazy. For a few weeks people were asking what was wrong with me because my mood had completely changed. Nobody could make me mad. I put it towards less stress than usual, but they noticed a difference in my motor skills. I'd reach for something that was clearly slightly further than I had seen it, react a split second slower, which is unusual because I'm typically the guy who catches the mistake or awkwardness before anybody else, and I generally looked lost. I had no idea. On Friday I was in my buddy's office during work when suddenly I got a random nosebleed. Figured it was from the dryness in the air. Went to the restroom to clean up this gusher. When I bent over to grab some toilet paper I hurled the contents in my stomach for the past 3 years into the floor of the restroom. Cleaned myself up, notified the janitor, but after seeing my face apparently look like I had ruptured every blood vessel in my face they insisted on taking me to the inside medic. Upon inspection he said it looked like dry sinuses, but in the worst case scenario I could have had an aneurysm. But he was almost positive it was sinuses. Guess what happened? I had a microcerebral aneurysm that was at a rupturing point and my body managed to expel the pressure and blood through my sinuses. My mood was changed because of the pressure the swelling caused on my brain. I could have died. That's crazy. I'm still in shock right now. The body doing what does best. It takes no prisoners. Seriously, how are you coping after your brain attack? Yesterday at 2 AM I was leaving after an event I had been organizing with a girl I've had a mad crush on for the last year. I never made a move because I thought she didn't feel anything for me and I've been busier, not to mention more exhausted, than ever lately. She followed me out the door and told me that she can't take it anymore, and out of the blue she kissed me. We're finally seeing each other as more than just friends tomorrow. I might actually explode from all the excitement and happiness. This is probably the best feeling ever for sure. When my mom said she would pay for me to get LASIK surgery, I've always had really bad vision, -5.75, and have been wearing glasses since 4th grade and contacts since high school. Capital I. I didn't believe it would happen, until it actually did. People promise things all the time, but almost never come through. Now I have perfect vision and don't have to deal with contacts or glasses. It's been fabulous. Just waking up and being able to see the clock is amazing. I have 4XX, don't really remember, but I feel you. When I got my first job out of university before I was even done university, you want me to basically do my dream job, and you'll pay me how much? And I get an assistant? Yep, okay. Where's the catch? Nope, no catch. I love my job. When I opened the letter telling me I'd been awarded a full ride, tuition and living stipend to university for 4 years, one of 2 times in my life I've ever seen my dad cry. Early retirement happiness tears. After multiple cornea transplant surgeries I was able to see clearly out of my problem eye for about 30 seconds before I put the bandage back on to let it heal. An hour or so later I said something funny but smartest to my GF and she hit me in the face with a pillow, rupturing the cornea and deflating the eye. I lost the eye, left the girl, and still hate her to this very day. In high school I was living with a host family because I went to a special school at the other end of my country. So I go home for the holidays, have fun, and then come back the day before school begins. I sit down to my desk to finish some homework, open a drawer looking for a binder, and under it I find sheets of money, 200 and 500 euros bills, and dozens of them. For a moment I couldn't breathe. Then my brain went into overdrive. What the frick? This is too good to be true. Did I win the lottery? Have I always had this money and just forgot about it? And then my host mom walked in and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I hid my savings in your desk while you were away." I was rich for about 30 seconds. If I found a bunch of money in my drawers that wasn't there before, I wouldn't think for a second that it actually belonged to me. When my mom said she won a free iPad mini for signing up for something online, I told her, "Yeah, okay mom, enjoy your free virus." A few weeks later, lo and behold, guess where I'm posting this from? Went out for dinner with a girl. She's wearing a sundress. Back to my place afterwards. Sitting on couch, chatting. These aren't nylons. They're thigh highs. And I'm not wearing any panties. Without another word, hikes up dress, straddles me. It's a really solid memory. GTA V came out Fuzzbone Tuesday. A snowstorm hit Tuesday and I haven't had school since, and already won't tomorrow or Tuesday again. Then that's Thanksgiving break. So 2 weeks off. PS. Yes, I'm from Buffalo. You sound young and able. Get out and shovel your neighbor's driveway, man. Germany scoring 3 goals in 5 minutes against Brazil in the Soccer World Cup. I really got goosebumps while a friend of mine paid the pizza guy and missed them. I went to the Humane Society and got my first dog last month. Her history was unknown, but she was friendly and I instantly fell in love. She's a 1-year-old mountain cur mix, possibly with some pit in her. On her first day, she peed in the living room. I told her no and she's never done it again. She learned quickly to use a paper in the kitchen and after a week she knew to only use the bathroom outside. She's smart, good with people and other dogs, and is my new best friend. We adopted our first dog the day she was set to be put down. We got her and then had to leave for a few hours. We braced ourselves for what we would find when we got home. She had stayed in the same spot on the floor, didn't even move. She is the best dog I know. Whoever gave her up trained her really well and then apparently didn't want her anymore. My whole life I've had to see a cardiologist due to a defect in my heart. During my last appointment he listened to my heart, frowned, and ordered an ultrasound. Apparently he couldn't hear the defect, so, lo and behold, the ultrasound is done. And he said that if the hole in my heart was any smaller, it wouldn't be there. It took me a minute to process what he said, and even longer to process that I wouldn't have to step into his office again. I was having an argument with an ex about whether his texts with a married friend of his were inappropriate. He kept arguing that I was paranoid and jealous, and I was arguing that he knew exactly what he was doing. He was waving his cell phone around in the heat of the argument, and right at that moment it beeped and a text from her showed up on the screen. "I'm coming to your city in 2 weeks. Think you can get us some alone time without worried Indy around?" Instant argument win. Those moments are so valuable. I posted about this a few years ago. I got back from work on a Friday to discover a 42 inches Panasonic Viera LCD TV sitting in my backyard. It was mounted on a stand, just sitting in the middle of the walkway in my yard. I brought it inside and plugged it in and it worked fine. There was no explanation for it. I talked to my landlord and she didn't have a clue why it might be there. My girlfriend had no clue either. For a relatively broke guy with no TV, this was quite the turn of events. For a couple hours I was contemplating what cable package to order and actively ignoring the possibility that this was anything other than a gift from the gods, until my neighbor got home and discovered his house had been broken into. I reluctantly revealed that the thieves had ditched his flat screen in my yard and walked it over to his house. Dude never even invited me over to watch Sunday football. You know, I know it's wrong to assume people should have to show a lot of gratitude, but that actually was crappy of him to not bother finding some way to thank you. I went to school in Chicago my freshman year of college. Absolutely hated it. So I returned to California to attend community college the year after to transfer into a UC. I grind my butt off at the CC, transfer into my top choice UC with a few hiccups, but nothing too terrible. I moved to the city my UC is in a month before school starts. I'm less than 5 blocks from the water, living in a beautiful house with some amazing housemates and great neighbors. I was making countless new friends, and everything was the exact opposite of Chicago: warm, friendly, and full of like-minded people. Everything was exactly as I had dreamed of during those cold winter nights in Chicago. Then I got a phone call from the admissions office, letting me know that I would no longer be attending their school because of one single credit that did not transfer over from my school in Chicago. I have tough skin. I've been through some crap, and I generally know how to deal with things without becoming a total wreck. But all 6'7" of me cried in bed for a good hour after being told that my dream setup was no more. Fast forward a few months, everything is alright, living in the same house with the same people, but the excitement is gone. I've been enrolled in 4 schools in the past 3 years. I don't even want to apply again, but I have to. Sometimes too good to be true doesn't work out in the end. That's awful that they did that to you. I'm so sorry. When I purchased an '09 Honda Civic off Craigslist for $3,000, turns out the car belonged to a drug dealer. Turns out this drug dealer left all the drugs in the car. He apparently tore off the headliner and shoved hundreds of baggies of C between the roof and the headliner. Turns out I had a hospital appointment on an Air Force base that same day. All of a sudden as I'm at the gate, all the dogs point out my car. The police yell at me to pull to the side. I pull to the side and they pull out their guns and tell me to get out slowly and get on the ground. This was my too good to be true moment. The dogs search the car. I'm arrested and walk to a little building off to the side where I explain how I just purchased the car half an hour previously and showed them the title with the seller's name. They call the city police and ask them to run a search on the guy's name. It comes up as wanted for drug possession and distribution. I am let go. He is arrested in the next city over. I run an internet horror series with my good buddies and my younger brother was given a side character's profile to produce and maintain on YouTube. At one point, he decides to customize the background and avatar and whatnot and looks for a picture of a classy man with an afro. Now, in terms of the series and genre's lore and background, fire, ash, and arson play a major part. Now, my brother, He just finds a random image of a black and white picture of a man in a suit with an afro and makes it his background. Occasionally, we blacked out his eyes to mess with viewers, but we just thought it was funny, screwing with an unassuming picture to scare people. However, a viewer fell too deep down the rabbit hole. It turns out that the image was a reporter by the name of Larry Langford, and at the time, we had a plot point about an arson in Chicago which led them to search for this. However, Larry Langford was also the name of the Mad Mayor of Birmingham, where he was actually charged with a devastating fire by arson. All of this coincidence is on top of the fact that a character we had been developing had run away from home in Alabama after she set her family's house on fire. It was so out of the way, mind-blowingly connected, that we just sat there in disbelief after it came full circle. We bought a cat tree. She only claws the crap out of the cat tree. Seriously, she was a stray and the furniture is fine. When a girl during my senior years in high school had a big crush over me, as it was the only time in my life a girl was ever interested in me, and it turns out it was too good to be true. It was just a big joke on a creep like me among her group of friends. It also explains why she had to reschedule ditch every date we ever planned. What a freaking bee. Well, this week started nicely, but it definitely was too good to be true. Saw my favorite band on Monday for the first time live. Got a job after the first application I ever sent out on Wednesday. But yeah, today I said my last goodbye to my great grandfather, who most likely will not live for another week. Life can be good sometimes, but watch out because it will sucker punch you when you least expect it. I've been out of work due to illness. Needless to say, it's taken a huge toll on us financially. I'm better now, but I lost my car and I have no way to get to work if I get a job. A few weeks ago my husband got a call out of the blue that we'd overpaid a bill by about $2,500. Long story, that would have gotten me a car. He leaves work to come get me because we both have to sign for it. He gets halfway home and they call back saying they'd made a mistake. We didn't overpay. They did send us an apology card, though. I sat and cried. That was a horrible joke. Fate. Horrible. After speaking to an acquaintance about my interest in sailing, and one day, maybe, owning my own sailboat, he gave me a 22 featuring Tanza, by way of a note left at my place of employment. By the time I called him back, as soon as his note was given to me by the receptionist, at approximately 3:30 p.m. that same afternoon, he told me he'd given it to someone else, since I hadn't responded quickly enough. What a dong. My friend won a Ford Focus Saint from a Newegg sweepstakes the day before April Fools. When he told us, we were all like, nah. Then he picked me up. I met my wife. We knew quickly we'd get married, but we waited years because we both thought it just felt too fast. Like we wanted to wait until the honeymoon effect wore off. And it did. But what was left was an eyes open sturdy love that has lasted almost 10 years of life. We fight. We make up. We're still rookies to marriage. People change or they die. I met someone I thought impossible and we're still changing together. This was actually a recent one. I was just starting another round of handing out CVs resumes to local businesses to get a job. On Monday afternoon I dropped off my CV resume. On Tuesday I got a call to say come in tomorrow morning for an interview. On Wednesday I had the interview and would hear about the job either tomorrow or the next day. On Thursday I got a call saying I got the job and they would contact me after rosters were drawn up so I could come in and sign a contract. On Friday they told me the roster had worked well and I could get my 2 preferred days off and to come in on Tuesday next week to sign all the paperwork, etc. So tomorrow I finalize it and get my job. I was at the New Media Expo in Vegas and people were excited to meet me and knew of my work. I might even go back and speak this year. I went in thinking I was some nobody idiot. I thought it must have been a dream. It was 2 of the coolest days in my life. I'm walking up to a ticket machine at the Fruitvale BART station, one of Oakland's sketchiest train stations, when a bum approaches me waving a refillable BART card. Hey, bro, got a $10 ticket here. Sell it to you for $5. The bum proceeds to swipe the card through the ticket machine, confirming it has a $10 balance. I figure he found a windfall in the trash and wants to convert it to cash, so why the heck not? I hand him a $5. He hands me the card. It feels a little off, Like the real cards are kinda glossy, but this is more of a matte finish. Then I watch as the bum pulls out a sheaf of Bart cards from his pocket and peels off the next one. They're all phony. Dude's selling a stack of phony Bart cards. Much as I wanted to go back and demand a refund, sometimes it's better to just take your losses, especially at Fruitvale Station. Let me clarify that I am 17. I was 16 when this happened a couple months ago. However, I've known that I was gay for about 2 years or so, as hormones confirmed I wasn't bisexual. It was a summer day, Friday the 18th of 2014. I was working outside with my brother. He and I are both helping with the renovations of our house. I got a text from a friend from school. Her name comes right after mine in our grade, so she sits the closest to me in homeroom, where we became friends. We weren't supreme friends, so a text, especially in the summer, was weird. I tried to recreate the conversation as best as possible. Hey, can I ask a personal question? My heart jumped. I assumed she was leading to him. He was her best friend. His hair on auburn curl, freckles dotted him everywhere. He averaged around 6 feet, like me. He had a flat stomach and his outfit always flamboyant. I tend to like most guys just because I know that they are also gay, but he was perfect. He was intelligent and had the best attitude almost always. I had flirted with him anytime I could via Facebook, and whenever he visited the other side of my lunch table I stole glances. He was amazing. Now our mutual friend is asking me something deep. Yeah, go ahead, shoot. Have you ever thought of swinging the other way? I was right. Well, in all honesty, I only swing the other way. Wait, what? And that was it. It took a bit to clarify that, yes, I was gay and wasn't messing with her, but eventually she asked me about him. What I thought. I said I was interested almost immediately. Text him, then here's his number. I couldn't breathe. Is this some sort of prank? My head was spinning. With my hands shaking I texted him and he responded. We hit it off. I couldn't believe it. He genuinely liked me, who was tall, but still weighs around 250, with a dorky smile and terrible style, who played his Nintendo 3DS at lunch and barely spoke a whole sentence to him in person. He didn't care. We talked constantly that entire weekend and decided to meet on Monday. We brought our mutual friend and her boyfriend to keep it less awkward, as we were both freaking out. I asked him out. He said yes. It's been a third of a year since then and every day we text, call, Skype, or see each other over our houses. It's been magical. He set me free. I told my family and they're all extremely supportive of me and they love him, and the feeling is returned twice-fold. He has taught me so much about myself without knowing it, and I'm there for him every step of the way. It's too good to be true. Girlfriend of 2.5 years cheated on me. I left. 2 nights later I hit on the hottest girl at the bar because why the frick not? Turned out she was a model. We did the nasty. It was awesome. Nice. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.